Inside the alien High Council chamber, a tense silence envelops the gathering. Their monitors show a human warship, silent, cloaked, and deadly, approaching with eerie precision. Confusion and dread ripple through the council as they realize the humans have evolved from a brutal Deathworld, making them unpredictable and terrifying foes. On board the human ship, a commander quietly prepares for what's to come, speaking one chilling promise into the void. The council chamber was carved from the heart of a neutron star's ore, a metal forged in cosmic fire, cold and unyielding. High above, a domed viewport revealed swirling stars and nebulae, glittering like watchful eyes. Around a circular dais, the elder assembly of the Sindar Empire sat draped in their shimmering robes. Their compound eyes flickered in fractured panic. Projecting their latest approach, intoned the chief seer, voice tight, trembling. The grand hollow display erupted with star maps, overlaying a ghostly outline. A human warship, colossal, angular, its hull cloaked in shadows. No energy signatures flared, no radio chatter echoed, just an ominous silhouette drifting forward like a spectre born of the void. "Impossible," hissed Lethkar, the youngest counselor. "Our scouts confirm the humans have no warp stealth. This is beyond any known technology," the chamber murmured with growing fear. The human warship moved as though it belonged not to a civilized race, but a force bred on a planet of unrelenting brutality. Their Deathworld, Earth, had molded them in pain, survival, and ruthlessness. This is a Deathworld spawn," whispered an elder, voice hoarse. "They do not abide by our rules." A sudden burst of static broke the silence. The view shifted to the bridge of the human ship. Commander Miravos stood, pale light casting hard shadows across her weathered face. Her eyes burned with quiet fury. "Target locked. The Council thinks they understand us. They do not." Her voice was low, measured. Around her, soldiers tightened their grips on weapons humming with nanotech-enhanced lethality. The warship's gravity, the field rippled subtly, a calculated distortion to mask mass and movement. Behind her, a countdown ticker blinked, 10 seconds remaining until they would reveal their presence. Calm silence. No transmissions, no warnings. "Let them drown in their arrogance," Mira whispered. She looked up at the viewport, a single line slipping from her lips, cold and resolute. "We were born in fire. We will burn their lies to ash." Back in the Sindar chamber, panic deepened. As their screens flickered, the human warship suddenly blinked out, vanishing as if swallowed by the void itself. "Cloaking field activated," the chief seer gasped, voice cracking. "They are ghosts. How?" "Because they come from death," Lethkar whispered, eyes wide with terror, "and death does not forgive." The chamber plunged into darkness as the warship's signal was lost. Then a single message appeared, glowing red across every hollow panel. "We are here. We are coming. Prepare." The Sindar Council reels from the human warship's sudden disappearance, scrambling to understand the technology and intent behind the cloaking field. As panic spreads, one elder tries to rationalize humanity's savage resilience, while others debate desperate defenses. Meanwhile, on Earth, the human crew prepares for a silent war that is about to ignite, fueled by a history of survival and vengeance. The chamber remained cloaked in uneasy silence after the chilling message flashed. The Sindar elders, once so composed, now exchanged nervous glances, uncertainty threading through their ranks like a creeping poison. Elder Makara, the oldest and wisest, leaned heavily on her staff, her voice rough but steady. "They come from a death world forged in ceaseless torment. Their planet is a crucible of life and death, a place where only the strongest, most adaptable survive. They do not fear the void, they embrace it." Lethkar's mandibles clicked in agitation. "Yet their technology is primitive compared to ours. How did they master such advanced cloaking? Our scans show no nanobot signatures, no artificial gravity anomalies, nothing. Makara's eyes flickered with ancient knowledge. That is the enigma. Their science is born from necessity, not luxury. Deathworld physics breed innovation in silence. They hide in plain sight, using nature's chaos as their shield. The Council's war strategists began frantically issuing orders, activating defense protocols around their homeworlds. Starships raised shields, and planetary sensors scanned for anomalies. But the dread was palpable, like watching a wildfire consume dry brush. Across the void, the human warship drifted silently in an orbital shadow. Commander Mira Voss paced the bridge, the weight of command heavy, but precise. She watched her. Crew, young soldiers and scientists, hardened by Earth's relentless landscapes, volcano ash, radioactive deserts, biohazard jungles. Every sensor is offline except what we control, said Lieutenant Rhea, her fingers dancing over tactile controls. The Sindar won't see us coming. Mira nodded. We don't seek peace. They betrayed. Our ancestors left us to rot under their surveillance. Now it's our turn. The ship's gravity wells hummed softly as a pulse of nanotech swarmed beneath the hull's surface, an adaptive shield regenerating from microfractures sustained during deep space transit. A scientist at the rear console looked up, voice hesitant, but focused. Commander, our EMP countermeasures are stable. If the Cinder try to jam us, we'll be ready. Mira's gaze hardened. Good. Let them throw their storms. We were born in the eye of a supernova. We survive where others perish. A final breath filled the bridge as the countdown hit 0. The ship's cloaking field flickered and vanished, revealing their imposing silhouette against the glittering stars, a herald of inevitable conflict. Below deck, a young soldier whispered to herself, clutching a photo of a scorched Earth city. This is for those who never saw tomorrow. Back in the Sindar chamber, panic transformed into grim determination. The councillors realized this was no mere raid or scout mission. Humanity was standing before them, demanding reckoning. Elder Makara whispered to herself, eyes narrowing, a Deathworld spawn indeed. We have no idea what we've unleashed. The Sindar scrambled to mount a defense as the human warship suddenly decloaks near the capital world's orbit. Explosions light up space as humans unleash precise electromagnetic pulse strikes and nanotech disruptors. The alien council experiences shock and terror at humanity's brutal efficiency. Meanwhile, on the human ship, Commander Mira balances ruthless tactics with the heavy cost of war. The Sindar's defensive fleets scrambled, rising like silver waves beneath the crystal sky of their homeworld, Veldath. Sensors blared warnings. The human warship had decloaked mere kilometers from the orbital command station. Shields at maximum, barked Fleet Admiral Sithrek, as the council chamber's tension shifted into a frenzied war room. But the human ship did not roar in with massive energy blasts. Instead, a sudden, invisible wave swept across the sector, an EMP pulse rippling, out-disabling power grids, sensors and communications. Starships stuttered and fell dark in the cosmic void. What sorcery is this? One councillor shouted. They wield technology that cancels ours. On the warship's bridge, Commander Mira's voice was calm yet cold. Nanotech swarms are infiltrating their systems. Their shields will falter in minutes. Captain, enemy vessels are reacting. Some attempting to flee, reported Lieutenant Rhea. Let them run. We are not here for glory, but to deliver a message, Mira said, eyes fixed on the holographic battlefield. Explosions flared as nanobot disruptors tore through the enemy's defenses. Sindar ships erupted into flaming wrecks, disintegrating. In silent bursts, back in the council chamber, the elders sat frozen, watching their forces crumble. The shock was deeper than defeat. It was terror of an enemy that combined savage Deathworld resilience with cold, unrelenting precision. One elder whispered, voice trembling, "They fight like animals." and yet with the mind of gods. The warship's mess hall, soldiers cleaned weapons with grim faces, knowing each victory came with a heavy toll. Mira's voice softened in a rare moment. This war is not just against them, but the ghosts of our past. Betrayal, loss, and death. Her eyes scanned the faces of the young crew, warriors bred from Earth's unforgiving crucibles, hardened by a world that taught them to survive at all costs. "Prepare for Phase 2, she ordered. "The Council will learn what it means to stand before those born of death." As the Sindar regroup and assess the damage, dissent and fear ripple through the Council chambers. Some argue for negotiation, while others demand annihilation. Meanwhile, aboard the human warship, Commander Mira and her team prepare to deliver a devastating message, one that goes beyond mere conquest and strikes at the heart of the Sindar's arrogance. The glow of destroyed ships still lingered like ghostly embers on the Sindar's battle hollow map. The council chamber was thick with tension. More than wariness, it was the simmering dread of a species confronting an enigma it could neither predict nor control. Elder Makara's voice cut through the chaos. "This is no ordinary assault. Humanity fights with the fury of a Deathworld beast, brutal, relentless, and clever beyond measure." Lethkar slammed his clawed fist on the table. "We must strike back, crush them before their influence spreads. They are but primitive savages. But to do so blindly will doom us all," argued Councillor Velzun, his compound eyes narrowing. "Their technology is alien, unpredictable. We know nothing of their limits." The debate tore at the chamber, dividing those who sought peace from those who thirsted for retribution. Far beyond the Council's fracturing voices, Commander Mira stood on the bridge, her jaw clenched in resolve. "Our mission isn't to conquer," she said quietly to her second-in-command, Rhea. "It's to remind them of what they threw away: honor, trust, and the cost of betrayal." A quiet murmur spread among the crew as the human ship powered up its gravitic projectors, rippling the space-time fabric around them. Mira's voice echoed through the bridge, steady and cold. "We will deliver our message in a way they cannot ignore." Below deck, a young soldier stared out the viewport, watching distant stars burn cold and bright. "This is for Earth," he whispered, clenching his fist. "For the Deathworld that forged us." Back in the council chamber, screens flickered as the human ship once again disappeared into the shadows, leaving behind a chilling warning etched in silence. The human warship vanishes from Sindar sensors, again using advanced stealth tech that baffles alien scientists. As the Sindar scramble to adapt, humans deploy covert psychological warfare, subtle signals and cryptic transmissions designed to unsettle and confuse. The emotional strain on both sides deepens, with trust fraying and fear mounting in the alien council while humans steel themselves for the looming escalation. Veldath's orbital scanners blared frantically, searching for any trace of the vanished human warship. It had slipped away like a ghost, its cloaking tech surpassing every Sindar standard. Desperation filled the council chambers as scientists argued over the nature of this unprecedented stealth. "The nanotech shielding is unlike anything in our databases," exclaimed High Scientist Jarrell, hands trembling over his consoles. "It adapts instantaneously, rendering electromagnetic scans useless." Elder Makara's eyes darkened. "They harness the chaos of their death world, unpredictable, adaptive. They are shadows shaped by survival." Meanwhile, aboard the human ship, Commander Mira watched the Sindars panic through intercepted channels. The humans were silent predators now, masters of invisibility and psychological precision. Lieutenant Rhea keyed a sequence into the system. A subtle, encrypted transmission emerged, a fractured message designed to play on Sindar fears and paranoia. "Signal sent," Rhea confirmed. "They won't know if it's a warning or a threat." In the alien council, the cryptic message sparked a cascade of unrest. Some counselors saw it as a taunt, others as a veiled offer of peace. The uncertainty shredded the veneer of cinder composure, exposing raw nerves. "Why do they torment us with silence?" hissed Councillor Velzon. "Are we to be hunted or negotiated with?" Back on Earth's warship, Mira's gaze hardened. "They misunderstand us. This is not merely war. It's a reckoning, a demand for respect forged in blood and fire." The crew prepared for what was next. A war waged not only in space, but in the mind. The Cinder Council fractures under the pressure of the invisible enemy. Factions clash between hawks demanding total annihilation, and doves urging negotiation, fearing humanity's unpredictable nature. Meanwhile, aboard the human warship, Commander Mira reflects on the heavy sacrifices behind their silent campaign, revealing deep personal stakes driving their relentless resolve. The Cinder Council chamber had become a battlefield of words and wills. The air thick with tension, fracturing loyalties surfaced like cracks in ancient ice. "Diplomacy is weakness," snarled War General Cattell, his multi-jointed claws pounding the marble dais. "If we do not destroy them now, they will tear us apart from within." Across the hall, Councillor Ylar, the youngest and most cautious, raised her voice. "We know nothing of their true strength or intentions. Blind rage will bring ruin." Elder Makara stood, her frail figure commanding silence. "We face a species born of death and darkness. They do not play by our rules." The debate spiraled, the Council's unity dissolving amid fear and mistrust. Meanwhile, the human warship drifted in silent orbit around Veldath's outermost moon. Commander Mira gazed at the stars, thoughts heavy with memories. She recalled the scorched ruins of Earth's surface, the Deathworld that birthed her people's tenacity. Families lost, cities burned, yet the will to survive burned brighter than ever. Lieutenant Rhea approached quietly. "Commander, the crew's morale is steady, but the weight of this mission presses hard." Mira nodded. "We carry more than weapons and tech. We carry history. Every strike is for those who gave everything." A hush fell over the bridge as the warship powered its engines, readying for the next phase of their silent war. Back in the Cinder chamber, voices raised in fearful whispers. "Why do they persist?" one elder questioned. "What fuels this endless fight?" Makara's reply was grim and resolute. "Because they are humanity, and humanity does not surrender." The humans unveil a new weapon, a nanotech swarm, capable of silently disabling entire fleets without direct combat. The Cinder watch helplessly as their ships are crippled in seconds, fueling panic and despair. Commander Mira grapples with the moral weight of wielding such devastating power, knowing that mercy and dominance now hang on a razor's edge. The void was quiet when the first Cinder cruiser went dark, its systems failing without warning, its hull cold and lifeless. Then another. Across the battlefield, human nanotech swarms had infiltrated enemy ships like invisible predators. Elder Makara stared at the cascade of failures, disbelief etched across her face. This is not war, it is extinction without fire. On the human warship's command bridge, Mira watched the tactical displays, her expression unreadable. "Weapons deployed," Lieutenant Rhea confirmed, eyes sharp. Mira's voice softened, barely above a whisper. "We are the inheritors of a death world's wrath. This is our mercy and our warning." The human soldiers moved with lethal grace, the nanobots swarming into Cinder vessels, cutting circuits and silencing engines. The alien fleets collapsed from within, their once mighty armadas now drifting tombs. In the Cinder Council chambers, panic erupted. Leaders wept openly, shattered by the swiftness and invisibility of their defeat. "How do we fight what we cannot?" "And Z," cried Councillor Yalar, voice breaking. Makara's eyes gleamed with painful resolve. We must find their heart, or perish beneath their shadows. Back on the human warship, Mira turned from the view screen. This war is not just about power, she said to Rhea. It's about choosing when to end it, and if mercy still lives in the ashes. As the Sindar struggle to understand the ruthless humans, Commander Mira reveals a haunting connection to the past, Earth's brutal Deathworld history, and the deep scars that forged humanity's unbreakable will. Amid mounting losses, both sides confront the ghosts of betrayal, sacrifice, and survival. In the dim glow of the warship's command deck, Mira's voice was low but steady. Earth is not just a planet, it's a crucible. Fire and ash shaped us. Lieutenant Rhea listened, absorbing the weight behind the words. Long before we reached the stars, we fought to survive in a world that tried to kill us every day. Harsh climates, deadly creatures, endless wars. Our technology, our tactics, they grew from that soil. Across the void, the Cinder scientists analyzed recovered human tech fragments, their confusion deepening. Their weapons mimic biological adaptation. Their nanotech is a reflection of evolution, not invention, one muttered. Councillor Vael Zun gripped the edge of the chamber's railing. We underestimated a species born in chaos and hardship. We called them primitives, yet they have harnessed death itself. Mira's gaze hardened. This war is personal. Betrayal runs deep, not just between species, but within our histories. We fight because surrender means oblivion. In the warship's quiet moments, soldiers shared stories of loss and hope, each tale a testament to humanity's relentless spirit. The Sindar Council's divisions deepened as fear mingled with grudging respect. Perhaps it is time to listen, whispered Elder Makara, for understanding may yet save us from annihilation. The humans launch a daring strike deep into Cinder space, revealing their mastery of stealth and technology. Commander Mira faces the crushing reality of war's cost as alliances fracture, and the Cinder's desperation peaks. The battle shifts from star systems to the psychological realm, where mercy and vengeance collide, and the true strength of humanity is laid bare. The warship drifted silently through the black void, a shadow cloaked within shadows. No sensor could detect its presence. No pulse or heat signature betrayed its position. Commander Mira stood on the bridge, eyes scanning the tactical readouts that flickered softly in the dim light. This was the calm before the storm, a fragile breath held in the infinite expanse. Behind her, the hum of the ship's engines whispered in eerie quiet, fueled by gravitic drives that bent space around them like a living cloak. The Sindar fleets, sprawling and arrogant, patrolled nearby star systems, confident in their dominance, blind to the predator lurking just beyond their reach. Mira's jaw tightened. This mission is more than a strike. It's a message, a reckoning for all who thought us weak. Lieutenant Rhea, standing close, nodded grimly. Our stealth tech is holding, nanobots ready. We hit their command station first, disrupt their coordination. A low murmur rippled among the bridge crew. Years of training, sacrifice, and hardened resolve crystallized into this singular moment. The human warship surged forward, its gravitic drives warping space as it slipped into Sindar-controlled territory. They moved like a phantom, unseen and unheard, slipping past patrols and sentinels with deadly grace. Far away on Cinder Prime, the council chamber buzzed with frantic activity. Screens displayed the humans' previous strikes, fleets crippled, planets scorched, systems plunged into chaos. Elder Makara's voice was steady, but laced with an unmistakable edge of desperation. They do not fight as we expect. Their tactics, unpredictable, brutal. This is no mere war. It is a reckoning. Councillor Yilar, her antennae twitching with anxiety, pleaded, "We must negotiate, find a way to end this before we are extinguished. General, Cattell growled in opposition. No mercy for savages who dared attack us first. But beneath the fury, fear simmered. Fear of a species born from death, one that refused to yield. Back aboard the human ship, Mira watched the approach to the Sindar command station, a sprawling construct orbiting a dead moon. The station's defenses were formidable, bristling with turrets and shield emitters, but the humans had learned to see beyond brute force. Deploying nanotech swarm, Rhea announced, her fingers flying over the control panel. The swarm burst. Forth, microscopic machines that moved like a dark tide, infiltrating sensor grids and disabling shield generators with surgical precision. Alarms flared across the station as defenses flickered and died. Inside the command center, panic erupted. Cinder officers scrambled, trying desperately to regain control. Screens flickered, systems failed. The station shuddered under the unseen. Assault! Makara's voice rang out, calm yet fierce. Hold the line. This is their Deathworld fury, unyielding and merciless. Outside, the human warship unleashed precision strikes, missiles weaving through the faltering shields, exploding with calculated devastation. The Sindar station cracked, its control towers collapsing one by one. Yet, amid the destruction, Mira's thoughts were far from victory. She remembered the faces of those lost, family, friends, entire worlds sacrificed to ensure humanity's survival. Every strike weighs on us, she said softly to Rhea. But we fight for a future they tried to steal. As the station's core began to destabilize, a sudden tremor ran through the warship, a warning pulse from Sindar reinforcements scrambling to intercept. Enemy fleet inbound, the tactical officer called out. Estimated arrival in 2 minutes. Mira's eyes flashed. Prepare for evasive maneuvers. Deploy cloaking field. Nanobots, stand by for defensive protocols. The ship shimmered, vanishing once more into the void as enemy vessels closed in, their scanners fruitlessly searching the darkness. In the council chambers, the mood shifted palpably. The Sindar realized their grip was slipping, their dominance challenged by a force born not just of technology, but of indomitable will. Can we survive this? Whispered Councillor Vaelzun, eyes haunted. Elder Makara's response was a whisper filled with ancient sorrow and stubborn hope. Only if we understand what it means to be human. The battle was far from over, but the scales had tipped. Humanity had shown the galaxy their true heart, unyielding, relentless, and bound by the fire of a Deathworld's legacy. The Sindar regroup in their shadowed strongholds, haunted by losses and desperate to unearth humanity's weaknesses. Commander, Mira faces the crushing personal cost of war and the rising question of mercy, whether to annihilate the enemy or break the cycle of violence. As betrayal within the Sindar rank surfaces, the true nature of the human war machine and its heart is revealed. Cold. The word echoed in the silence of the Sindar subterranean citadel, buried deep beneath the scorched surface of their shattered homeworld. Here, far from the glittering battlefields and dying stars, their leaders gathered, cloaked not only by rock and stone, but by fear and fractured resolve. Elder Makara paced slowly, her many eyes heavy with exhaustion, the weight of recent defeats pressed down like the crushing gravity of a collapsing star. The humans, they are unlike any foe we have faced, she murmured. They do not simply attack, they consume, assimilate and adapt. Their minds and machines meld, their strategy an unyielding storm. Councillor Vaelzun, the sharpest of their military minds, slammed a claw against the metal table. We must find the root of their power, their technology, their tactics, all born from Deathworld fire. If we understand their origins, we can exploit their weaknesses. Yet doubt gnawed at the assembly. The memory of the human warship's recent strike on the Cinder command station, the destruction wrought with surgical precision, left even the staunchest warriors shaken. Outside the cavernous chambers, in the quiet shadows, Whispers of dissent stirred. Some Sindar questioned the Council's judgment. Others feared that surrender might be their only salvation. In the heart of this storm, a new threat emerged, betrayal from within. Spies, once loyal, now whispered secrets to human sympathizers, undermining the fragile Sindar unity. Far from the turmoil of Sindar politics, Commander Mira stood alone on the observation deck of her warship, staring into the void. The stars burned cold and distant, indifferent witnesses to the carnage. Her hands trembled slightly as she touched the worn pendant hanging from her neck, a relic from her home, a reminder of everything lost. Lieutenant Rhea approached quietly. "Commander, the crew speaks of your resolve, of the burden you carry." Mira's voice was low, almost a whisper. "This war is not about glory. It is about survival, yes, but also about what kind of future we leave behind." Her gaze drifted to the holographic display showing Sindar. "Fleet movements. We have the power to end this, but at what cost?" The question lingered heavy in the air. Below decks, the soldiers prepared for the next campaign. Among them, Sergeant Kellen reviewed mission logs, haunted by the faces of those lost in past battles. "Do you ever wonder what it's all for?" he asked quietly to his comrade, a young tech specialist named Arin. Arin shrugged. "We fight because we must, because giving up means death. But sometimes I wish it were enough to just survive." Kellen nodded. "Survival is only the first step. We fight to be more than ghosts in the void." Back on Cinder Prime, the Council convened in crisis. Reports of betrayal and sabotage escalated tensions. Elder Makara's voice cut through the clamor. "We face not only an external enemy, but the rot within. Our unity is fragile. If we fracture now, extinction is certain." Councillor Ylar, visibly shaken, added, "We underestimated humanity's will and their capacity for sacrifice. They do not seek simple conquest. They seek to rewrite the very rules of war." General Cattell growled. "Then we must become shadows, ghosts that haunt their every move." Plans were made in whispered urgency. Saboteurs were hunted. The Sindar's ancient defenses were bolstered with new, desperate tactics: electromagnetic pulses, decoy fleets, and deadly gravity mines. On the human warship, Mira convened with her senior officers. The mood was somber. "Our victory has cost lives too many," she said, voice thick with emotion. "But this war demands more than sacrifice. It demands understanding." Lieutenant Rhea interjected, "Our nanotech and stealth give us an edge, but we face an enemy learning fast." The Zinda's desperation will only grow. Mira's eyes met Rhea's. "Then we must prepare not only to fight, but to endure. To show mercy when it can save lives, and to strike hard when it must." She turned toward the viewport, the stars shimmering coldly beyond. "Because if we lose ourselves in vengeance, we lose what makes us human." The warship's engines hummed to life, a promise of renewed movement in the silent void. The cycle of violence continued, but beneath the fire and fury, a fragile hope flickered, a hope born from shadows and ashes. Humanity pushes deeper into Sindar territory, facing fierce resistance and moral quandaries. Commander Mira confronts the growing toll of war and the uneasy line between justice and vengeance. Meanwhile, a hidden Sindar faction seeks fragile peace, challenging everything both sides believe. The battle escalates to a pivotal moment where mercy could decide the fate of entire civilizations. The warship's hull vibrated faintly as it cruised through the dying remnants of a shattered star system. Commander Mira stood at the prow, her silhouette etched against the cold stars that glittered beyond the viewport. The silence around her was heavy, broken only by the quiet hum of gravitic engines. For all the fury humanity had unleashed, there remained a haunting void where hope flickered weakly, like a candle threatened by an unrelenting storm. "Commander, we've received a transmission," Lieutenant Rhea said softly, breaking the stillness. Mira turned sharply, eyes narrowing. From whom? Rhea hesitated, fingers dancing over the console. It's Cinder, but not the usual hostile chatter. It's a request for parley. The word hung in the air like a fragile truce, an uneasy thread in a tapestry of violence. "Show me," Mira commanded. On the holoscreen, a translucent figure flickered, an elder Sindar, his antennae low, eyes weary. "I am Counselor Vael Zun," he began, voice heavy with exhaustion. "We seek dialogue, not out of weakness but necessity. Our people suffer, our unity fractures. There are those among us who desire peace." Mira's heart pounded. This was the first genuine olive branch since the war had ignited. Yet decades of betrayal and bloodshed screamed caution. "Why now?" she asked, voice steady but cold. "Because," Vael Zun answered, "we see that this war will consume us all. We do not ask for surrender, only understanding. Let us meet. Let us find a way." In the war room, Mira gathered her officers. The room was thick with tension. "We have an offer," she said simply. Lieutenant Rhea's eyes searched the room. "It could be a trap," Sergeant Kellen shook his head, "or a chance to end the nightmare." Mira looked at each face, feeling the weight of command crush her chest. "We owe it to our dead to consider every path, but we must be ready. If this is a gambit, we will be the last to fall." The ship changed course, heading toward a neutral zone, an ancient, dead star system, long abandoned by all factions. Here they would meet. The journey was silent, save for the whispers of memories and the unspoken dread of what awaited. At the rendezvous point, the Sindar delegation emerged from a sleek vessel, shimmering with defensive cloaking tech that betrayed nothing but their intent. Mira descended into the meeting chamber, where Vael Zun awaited. His posture was cautious, yet his eyes held a glimmer of hope. "Commander Mira," he greeted, "thank you for agreeing to this meeting." "We fight to survive," Mira said, "not to destroy what remains, but trust is a rare currency." Vael Zun nodded solemnly. "We are fractured. Some Sindar reject this truce, but many want to end this cycle of death." For hours they spoke. Of loss, of fear, of hopes buried beneath centuries of hatred. Mira shared humanity's pain and resilience. Vael Zun revealed the desperation that had driven his people to the brink, but as dialogue deepened, an explosion rocked the station. Security alarms blared. "Sabotage!" a Sindar guard shouted. "Traitors among us!" The fragile meeting fractured instantly. Shouts turned to chaos and weapons emerged. Mira's heart sank as violence erupted. The promise of peace shattered under the weight of fear and betrayal. Amid the turmoil, Mira saw something unexpected. Counselor Ylar, the fiercest Sindar. Warhawk slipping away into the shadows. "After her," Mira ordered. They pursued through narrow corridors, weaving between flickering lights and sparking consoles. Ylar turned to confront them, claws bared. "You will regret trusting them," she hissed. "They are as ruthless as we feared." But Mira held firm. "And we are not the monsters you imagine." A tense standoff ended with Ylar's capture, but the damage was done. The Sindar delegation withdrew, leaving the humans isolated and wary. Back on the ship, Mira grappled with the cost of war and the elusive hope of peace. She looked to Rhea. "Mercy is a risk, but sometimes the greatest weapon we wield." Rhea nodded slowly. "And sometimes the hardest." Mira's gaze hardened. "Prepare the fleet. We will continue the fight, but keep channels open. Because if we lose the chance for peace now, there may be no future left to fight for." Outside the viewport, stars blinked cold and distant, indifferent witnesses to the fragile hope burning within the human soul. A hope forged in Deathworld fire, tempered by sacrifice and refusing to die. As the final battle looms, humanity and the Sindar face their darkest hour. Commander Mira must make a choice that will define the future of both species. The warship's legacy, born from Deathworld fire, becomes a symbol of endurance, sacrifice, and a fragile hope that peace can rise from ashes. The galaxy watches as humanity's true nature is revealed, not just as warriors, but as keepers of a hard-earned mercy. The void stretched endless beyond the warship's reinforced viewport, a cold canvas for the approaching storm. The Sindar fleet loomed ahead, a jagged constellation of steel and fury, primed for annihilation. Yet behind their armored eyes, doubt flickered like a dying ember. The war had hollowed their souls, twisted their pride into desperation. Commander Mira stood in the command bridge, the weight of the coming conflict pressing on her like gravity. "Itself! Status report," she ordered. Lieutenant Rea's fingers danced over the console, eyes sharp. Weapons charged, cloaking array stable. Nanotech reinforcements ready. Good. Mira's voice was steady but grave. "We face extinction. If we fail here." The room was quiet except for the hum of systems and the distant echoes of countless lost lives. The silence shattered as the Cinder flagship transmitted a message, its tone biting and resolute. "This war ends here. Surrender or be destroyed." Mira stepped forward, her voice calm but fierce. "We fight not for conquest, but survival. But I offer one final choice. Peace. End this bloodshed, and we will forge a new future." A pause, heavy with unspoken history. The reply came cold and final. "We do not trust words born in fire." The first salvo struck. Explosions rocked the hull as plasma lances and electromagnetic blasts tore through shields. The battle erupted in a dazzling maelstrom of light and shadow. Mira gritted her teeth, ordering countermeasures and evasive maneuvers. Nanobots swarmed through damaged conduits, repairing in real time. Amid the chaos, her mind raced. This was not just a battle of weapons, but wills. Below decks, soldiers fought with desperate courage. Sergeant Kellen led a squad sealing breaches and protecting vital systems. "Hold the line," he shouted over the alarms. "For every inch we lose, we pay in blood." Around him, faces were grim but unyielding. Humanity's fury distilled into unbreakable resolve. Above the storm, a shadow detached from the Sindar flagship, a cloaked vessel slipping through the chaos toward the human command center. Inside, Mira sensed the shift. "Prepare for boarding," she warned. The hatch burst open. Cinder warriors poured in, claws flashing and weapons blazing. Mira fought at the forefront, her blade a streak of lethal precision. Each strike was fueled by every sacrifice, every loss, every moment that had led here. The boarding battle was brutal, a dance of death in narrow corridors. Yet as Mira faced down her foes, she glimpsed something unexpected. Hesitation. One Sindar warrior faltered, eyes meeting hers. Fear, confusion, and something like hope. "Why do you fight like this?" the warrior asked, voice breaking. "Because," Mira answered, "we are forged in fire, because we refuse to be broken." A spark passed between them, fragile but real. Back on the bridge, Lieutenant Rea detected movement in the Sindar fleet. "They're pulling back," she reported, surprise evident. Mira's eyes narrowed. Not retreat, regrouping. The war was not over, but in this moment a fragile hope had been kindled, an ember amidst the ruin. In the aftermath, both sides counted their losses. The galaxy watched as two civilizations, scarred and battered, paused on the edge of oblivion. Commander Mira addressed her crew, voice steady but raw with emotion. "We have faced death, and we have risen. Our warship is more than steel and fire. It is a symbol of humanity's unyielding spirit." She looked out at the stars, her voice softening. "We fight not because we hate, but because we love. We fight to protect what is precious, the future we choose to build." Across the void, Councillor Valzun sent a final message. Perhaps there is hope yet. Not in conquest, but in mercy. The warship glided forward, a beacon of resilience in the endless night. The legacy of fire would endure, not as a weapon of destruction, but as a testament to humanity's greatest truth, that even in the darkest void, light can be born.